Right, legends, welcome back to the channel. So as you can see today, we are trying to help you guys to break 100, okay? And we've got 5 really quite simple things, nothing swing based, that are gonna help you to do that. Now, I don't wanna have a lot of fluff around this, so we're gonna get straight into it. One of the biggest things I see with amateurs that are playing off maybe 25 plus or even 18 plus handicaps that are struggling consistently to sort of shoot a bit lower, and especially to try and break that 100 mark, is using really lofted wedges around the greens. Now, the problem with lofted wedges is that if you don't strike them really well, they can do all sorts of things. You can thin them, etc., and then it just gets you into really, really big trouble. Okay, so what we've got here is a 46 degree, and I'm going to show you guys. In fact, let's get one more ball out here. I'm not going to cut so you guys can see what I'm doing. I would rather you took a 46 degree. That's my wedge. So I'm just looking behind me just to make sure there's no one coming up. And we're about 30 yards from the green here, maybe 40, okay? All I'm gonna do is, I actually quite like taking a slightly weaker grip here and a slightly stronger right hand, okay? And depending on the firmness of the greens and how far the pin is or how close it is to you, all we need to do, we don't need a super lofted club. Okay, so that's landed short, but it's going to roll on probably about a meter. So that's wedge. No, we're still good. I've now got 9-iron, same distance. I like that slightly weaker grip, slightly stronger right hand. Okay, so now we've got a touch less loft. Okay, so that's ended up really nicely. I think that's about 2 foot. And then now we can even go to an 8-iron, because the thing is, we are in winter here, and this is the main thing, is that, you know, how soft are the greens and how close to the flag are you? Because it might hinder you from hitting, for example, this. But again, that's now maybe 5-6 feet. I just don't think you need the 60 degree to get the job done from this sort of area. And even further back to maybe 40-50 yards, it's just an easier way of doing things. And I think just from a reduction of score, you're not going to make the massive sort of flub shot errors, etc. Okay, so this also works really well right by the side of the green. So I've got this 8-iron again here, and again, I see guys using like 56 degree wedges, and you've just got to manipulate the shaft angle too much. You've got to try and de-loft the face, and otherwise the ball comes out really high and soft, and it's really difficult to know how much it's going to run out. So here's an 8-iron. This is just a standard little 8 bunt. Again, I like that weak left wrist because I feel like I can face it to the target and just hold it there. Okay, might not be popular for everybody, but that's just myself. So here's your 8. Bump and run. Okay, not the best, but again, probably 4 feet. And the other option then with this sort of shot now, you probably will have seen this on YouTube before maybe, but putter grip, toe of the club down, heel up, so that the shaft is more vertical. And now we're going to basically putt this with an 8-iron. Come out a bit right, fair enough. But I find this is just really easy to not chunk it. It's really consistent, and this would be my go-to if I was trying to minimize errors. I think they would have got really close, didn't hit that ball. Tip 1, done. Okay, so tip 2, and I do not mean this in a horrible way, but put the ego back in the bag. And what I mean by that, guys, is often we'll play in 4 balls where you've got maybe a couple of really good golfers that are maybe driving the ball really far, or for example, I've chosen this hole really specifically because what might happen, for example here, this hole is about, from this little tee box here, okay, we're on different tees because it's winter, etc., so I just made one here. This is about 230, probably even less, maybe 210, okay. It's really gettable if you hit a great shot, but there's out of bounds down the right, okay, and there's trees on the left. So for me, if I'm trying to mitigate errors, all I'm going to try and do is make sure that I find a fairway here. So again, I've got 8-iron here, and actually I'm going to change that. I'm not going to cut, just so you guys can see what's going on here. And I'm going to hit my 9 iron. This goes about 150, maybe 140 in the winter, and this will leave me probably, I don't know, a little wedge in. But we're putting the ego at the door. I've hit it really well. It's a bit left, but again, because it's a 9 iron, it's in the fairway. Okay, now you could be more aggressive, but the problem with a hole like this is because it pinches in, the further you hit, the more chance that there is of something going wrong. So hit the fat part of the fairway. Don't worry about the club that's being hit. If you're the one hitting a 9 iron off the tee and someone else is hitting a 2 iron or a 3 iron, you're trying to score. This is the main thing you're trying to do. Okay, tip 2, done. Okay, so tip 3 is quite simple. We've all got what I think is kind of your favorite club in your bag, right? I love the 6 iron, and I would hit it off every tee if I could. It gets me in play. And that's the main thing. You'll probably have a club in your bag that you feel the same about. Often with higher handicappers, it's maybe a hybrid. But for example, on this hole here, you've got out of bounds on the right. My line normally would be, because I'm comfortable with my driver, well, I'll hit driver over these trees over here because it's a dogleg left. But the point is, if you're trying to break 100, there's no point at all. You might be able to hit the odd one really, really good and get over, but it's going to bring in huge scores if you're hitting 3 from the tee. Okay, so again, 6 iron, I'm just going to hit it straight down there. You should see like a little arrow that points left. That's a little white marker right down the edge of the fairway there. That's my line, and that should give me a shot down the fairway. If I don't get all the way to there, that's fine as well. This is a par 4. 6 is fine here. Okay, we'll talk about numbers in a second. Alrighty. It's a little bit strange. I've never hit 6 off this tee box before. Okay, so I've pushed it slightly, but again, there's no trouble there. And that's probably past, I think it's past the edge of that corner. So that's what we wanted to do. Now we've got a shot in, okay? Again, we're there for 1. That's what we want. Okay guys, the one thing I did forget to mention here was just the numbers of this whole thing. So you want to shoot under 100. Ergo, you need 99 shots to do that, okay? Let's take into account that most golf courses that we play are probably a par 72. So in the simplest form, you can have 9 bogeys and 9 double bogeys, and that will do it. So you might say, oh well, I often have maybe like a quadruple per round, and I would say, yeah, you probably do. Fair enough. You might, on this last hole here, for example, you might have more than that. But the whole thing is really, how can we mitigate the big numbers? Doubles, you're allowed 9 doubles, okay? That's massive. So all the par 4s, maybe not all of them, but the majority you could play as a par 6. The par 5, that's probably a win for you because you could try and get onto there for 5, maybe make a 6, okay? Those are the holes that are good. Par 3s, 5 is fine. Okay, so these are the numbers that you need to start trying to figure out and plot your way around. Plot, all the way around the course. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, tip number 4. If you go into the bush, make sure, double sure, that you get back into play if at all possible. So this example here, guys, I've got not a great lie. The thing that everybody's brain probably is going to do on a golf course and go, oh, I can hit a low draw through there and it's going to give me probably 100 left in. I think I might pull off this shot if I didn't need the score, but if I'm really trying to break that 100, that is your friend all day, okay? All I'm gonna do is take this 8 iron. You could take anything, 7, 8, 6, whatever it might be. I've got my slightly weaker grip again. I enjoy this just for these control shots, and I just want to leave this back in the fairway. I've now got clear line of sight up to the green, and I can make my easy 5 or even 6. Okay, be smart, make sure you get back into play. Tip 4, done. Right guys, 5th and final tip of the day. So we've talked a little bit about OB, okay, on the first one of the two of the first tips, can't remember which one. And we've talked, and I haven't talked about water yet. So OB and water, these are two things on a golf course that literally, if you can avoid them at all costs, your round is going to be exponentially better. Because again, you'll generally with OB be back on the tee. In fact, you probably will be if you're hitting it off the tee shot. And then water, you're going to maybe likely going to be able to sort of drop by the water. But again, it's dropping that shot. So this hole here, you can see, I don't know maybe if you can, but there's white stakes down the right hand side. So going back to one of our other tips, can't remember which one again, brain's a bit foggy. I've got my 6-iron because it's my favorite club. I'm going to go at that middle pole there, that telegraph pole, and I'm going to go nowhere near that out of bounds. So let's do it. Again, no cuts, so you guys can see I'm being as authentic as possible. Okay, so I've pushed it, but because I went to the right line, it's just right side of the fairway. And I've hit it pretty badly, to be honest. But again, it's in the fairway. I've gone left enough that even if I did make a mistake like I did, we're going to be okay. So, guys, listen, I hope you've enjoyed those. I hope they've helped you a little bit. If they have, please consider subscribing. I'm going to do more of these kind of things to try and help you guys out. And that's it for today. So, yeah, have a good day. Catch up with you later.